Hello everyone, this is Ravindar Dundra and welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about class 10th geography chapter number 7, that is lifelines of national economy. In the previous lectures, we were discussing about the means of transport. In that, we have seen the various types of transport where land, water as well as airways. So under the land, we have discussed about these roadways, what are the different types of roadways. Then the next topic which we are going to discuss is about these railways. So how these railways are going to help in the transportation of goods as well as passengers, and what are the advantages of these railways. So all these things we are going to discuss in this lecture. So as you all know that the railways are the principal mode of transport for freight as well as this passengers. That means the one of the very important mode of transport for transporting freight, which means you can say goods, and at the same time for the passengers. So these passengers as well as goods are mostly transported through the railways over a longer distances. We can say mostly extreme parts of the India are also connected with this railways. Then the next thing is that it helps people to conduct multifarious activities. That means it helps the people in conducting or doing various activities. So for example, if you take people who conduct business, you can say buying and selling of the goods over different parts of the country. Then you can take the sightseeing, people who go for tourism purpose. Then pilgrimage, that means those people who visit various temples as well as you can say holy places in the country. Then transportation of goods over longer distances. For example, if you want to transport goods from two extreme parts of the country, it would be very difficult to transport by road or airways. But instead, when if we use these railways, we can easily transport the goods without much time, you can say without much cost. Then the next thing is that the Indian railway line is one of the largest PSU in the country. That means what do you mean by this PSU is that it is a public sector undertaking. So which is controlled by the government. So as you all know, there are some industries, or you can say there are some activities which are directly under the control of government. So those industries we call them as this public sector undertakings. Among them, the largest public sector undertaking is this railways. Then when was the first railway line was started is that the first train in India was between Mumbai and Thane, which was a distance of 34 kilometers in the year 1853. That means during the time period of Britishers, the first train was laid, that too between Mumbai as well as Thane, at a distance of 34 kilometers. Now at present we have total 16 different railway zones are there in the country. So next we will see how this distribution of railways had been there in the country. Let us discuss what are the factors that influence the distribution pattern of the railways. So if you can look, there are mainly three important factors which actually influence the distribution of railways in the country. So what are these? So first one is this physiography, that means the physical features of that particular area. It may be high relief or high land or low land or a flat area, or you can say sometimes the plain areas, or is it in plateau region. So depending upon this physiography. Then the next one is this economic. Economic, it means the cost of laying the tracks, and at the same time administrative factors, which means you can say the government rules and regulations and how they are administrating that areas. So depending upon these three factors, physiography, economic, that means the cost, as well as administrative factors, the construction, or you can say distribution pattern of railways were influenced. So if you can see the northern plains in the country, as you all know very well where these northern plains are located. So these northern plains are most favorable for railways. So why these northern plains are highly favorable for this railways are, there are certain reasons. So what are these? First one is this vast levels of land. That means the northern plain itself says that the land is plain area which is highly suitable for construction of these railways, and high population density. You can find this northern plains where the population density is very high, because since it is a plain area, most of the people they live in these plain regions. Then the next one is this rich agricultural resources. So in the plain areas you can also find this rich agricultural resources. So because of that, here the northern plains are highly suitable for construction as well as the maintenance of these railways. But here also there are some problems with this northern plains. So what are these problems, sir? Most of the rivers, they flow in these northern plain regions. If you take this Ganga or Brahmaputra or Indus, so they are flowing in these northern plain regions where we require a lot of bridges to be constructed to connect the two places on both sides of these rivers. So that is one problem. Then if you can take the next important place in the country, that is this peninsular region. So in peninsular region there are certain problems faced by the railways. Why? Because here railway tracks are laid through low hills. You can see most of the peninsular regions are having these lower hills, and at the same time you can find most of the tunnels in the country in this peninsular region. The reason is that it is having most of this lower hills. So if you want to cross from one place to other place, you need to lay the track through these tunnels. So this is how this peninsular region has got the railways. Next we will see how the railways are distributed through Himalayas, as well as we will also see the other parts of the country. Now let us see how these railways are distributed among these Himalayan regions. So as we have just now seen, northern plains are highly favorable for the railways, whereas these Himalayan regions, they are highly unfavorable for the construction of railways. So let us see what are the reasons why they are highly unfavorable for the railways. Is that the first and very important thing is high relief. You can find in the Himalayan regions mostly covered with these different mountains. So therefore it would be very difficult to lay this track. And next thing is the sparse population. As we can see in the northern plains, there is a dense population, whereas here in these Himalayan regions the population is very lesser. Then the next thing is lack of economic opportunities. That means here in the Himalayan region, job opportunities or business or even trading, you cannot find most of the economic opportunities in this Himalayan region. So because of these reasons, you can say high relief, sparse population, as well as lack of economic opportunities, it is highly unfavorable for railways to lay the tracks in the Himalayan region. And not only this Himalayan region, there are some other places also where it would be very difficult for the railways to construct. So what are these places? Are you can take this sandy plains of western Rajasthan, where completely covered with the desert region. Then swamps of Gujarat. Swamps means the area which is completely wet throughout the year. You can say marshy lands also we also call. So in these regions also it is very difficult to construct these railway tracks. And at the same time there are some forested regions, that means which are completely covered with different types of forests. So these are like you can take in the Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, as well as Jharkhand. So these regions also mostly covered with the forest. So because of this forest cover also, it is very difficult for the railways to construct these tracks. So therefore we can understand that the northern plains are highly favorable for this construction of railways, whereas you can take the other places like Himalayans, or you can take these sandy regions of Rajasthan are highly unfavorable for this construction of railways. So with this we have discussed how the railways are distributed over the country. Next we will see the difficulties or challenges faced by the railways at present in the country. Let us discuss about the challenges faced by these railways. So what are the challenges that are mainly faced during the present days by the railways? The first and very important thing, many passengers, they travel without tickets. As you see, most of the people who travel in general compartments, they travel without tickets, so which is a loss for the railways. Then the next thing is thefts and damaging the railway property. So when the railways are kept aside, when they are not in use, most of the railway property is also being theft or they are damaged by various groups of people. Then the next thing is people pull the chain unnecessarily. Suppose if there is no stop in any station, sometimes people try to pull the chain unnecessarily, which cause the time delays, at the same time loss for these railways. So these are some of the challenges at present being faced by the railways, but apart from that, it is one of the largest public sector undertaking in the country. So as of now we have discussed about this roadways as well as railways. Then the next new mode of transport or new arrival of transport in the country is that it is pipelines. So once upon a time we used to transport only water through these pipelines, but as of now we started transporting this crude oil, petroleum products as well as natural gas. So how we used to transport is by using these pipelines. Once we used to transport or supply water through these pipelines, but now we are using for crude oil, petroleum products as well as natural gas. And from where to where we are connecting is that from petroleum fields, or you can say from petroleum refineries to the fertilizer industry or other industries which require these products as their raw material. And at the same time these solids are also transported in a slurry form. Through the pipelines we can also transport solids in the slurry form. So what do you mean by slurry is that it is in something mixed with water or sometimes mixed with any kind of liquid, so that it can be easily transported. So solids will be transported in the slurry form. Slurry means you can say either it is mixed with water or any kind of liquids. But there is one problem with these pipelines is that the cost of laying this pipeline is very difficult, or you can say it is very higher. But once we construct this means, then later on we cannot find any kind of problems. So one advantage over this pipelines is that it rules out transshipment losses or delays. That means you can take, if you take other mode of transport, maybe roadways or railways, there can be some kind of loss in the mode of transport, but here there won't be any delay. At the same time there won't be any loss if you use this pipeline mode of transport. So let us see what are the main places that are connected to these pipelines in India and what are the major pipelines that are located in the country. Let us see various pipeline connections in the country. So there are mainly three different pipeline transportation in the country. So what are these three different types of pipelines are? The first one is from upper Assam to this Kanpur via Guwahati, Barauni as well as Allahabad. So if you can see in the map, the upper part of this Assam, here starting with Naharkatia, then followed by this Guwahati, then Siliguri in West Bengal, then through Allahabad to the Kanpur, and from Kanpur to Barauni, which is located in Bihar, and from Barauni to Rajband and Rajband to Maurgram, then followed by this a place known as this Haldia. So these are the different places which are connected through this pipeline, but the main pipeline starts from upper part of the Assam to this Kanpur via this Guwahati, Siliguri as well as this Barauni. But from Barauni onwards it has branches to this Haldia port, where in between you can find Rajband and Maurgram in the West Bengal. So this is the first pipeline in the country, and the following next two are from Gujarat to this Jalandhar as well as this Gujarat to Jagdishpur in Uttar Pradesh. So we will see how they are connected. The second important pipeline in the country, which is connecting from Salaya in Gujarat to Jalandhar in Punjab via the places such as Veergram, Mathura, Delhi as well as Sonipat. So if you can see in the map, this Salaya is located here in this Gujarat, and from here to here, which is the Veergram, which is also located in Gujarat, and from Veergram to the next place is this Mathura, which is located in Uttar Pradesh. Then from Uttar Pradesh to the next connection is given to this Delhi, and from Delhi to it is given into the place known as Sonipat, which is located in Haryana. Then from Haryana too, it is given connected to it has been connected to the place known as this Jalandhar. So the second very important pipeline in the country is from Salaya, which is located in Gujarat, to Jalandhar in Punjab, but in between it is also connecting the important places such as Veergram, Mathura, Delhi as well as Sonipat. So if you can see in the map, from here to here Veergram, then Mathura in UP, Delhi, Sonipat as well as this Jalandhar. So next we will see the third important pipeline in the country. Now let us see the third important pipeline connection in the country, that is connecting from Hazira in Gujarat to Jagdishpur in UP. And this third type of pipeline, it is actually a pipeline which is laid to transport gas from Hazira in Gujarat to the Jagdishpur, and in between it passes through a place known as Vijaypur, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So if you can see here, this Hazira is located, then from here to here in Madhya Pradesh Vijaypur is located, and from here to here in Jagdishpur which is located in Uttar Pradesh. And from here Vijaypur, it has also connection to this places known as Kota in Rajasthan, and from Jagadishpur it has connection to the other places such as Shahjahanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Then as well as you can also find Babrala in Uttar Pradesh. So both these Shahjahanpur and Babrala both are located in Uttar Pradesh, where from Jagadishpur they are connecting. And if we can take Kota, it is connected from a place known as Vijaypur, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So with this we have completed the three important mode of transport in the through pipelines. So one is from Upper Assam to Kanpur, the second one is Salaya to Jalandhar, and the third one is from Hazira to this Jagadishpur. So with this we have completed the means of transport by land. So in the next lectures we will discuss about the waterways. Thank you.